How to learn PowerShell. There are different ways to go about it. I'd say there's pretty much three main methods. There's the brute force one, where you just get in the command line and start trying to figure out what the hell commands do. I would say, oop, I had it backwards. You can just basically start trying to use commands. If you use the PowerShell ISE, it actually starts trying to fill the blank, and then you can use help commands. Luckily, PowerShell commands are relatively simple to understand. You got a verb and a subject, and then you can basically use the help command to try to figure out what they are. So it's relatively straightforward in comparison to other command line languages out there. So that's pretty much the brute force method, where you just try to force your way through it. Not the most efficient way. That's kind of how I started before I figured it out. Now, the second method, pretty much kind of a wing it method, less of a brute force method, is using Google. Now, Google, pretty much, you just try to find commands or figure out what you want to do. That can be a little bit rough because you're going to get stuff you don't understand, like on some forums. So you have to use those with caution, because if you don't understand them and it doesn't work right, or it breaks something, well, you're going to have to figure out how to fix it. So I would recommend against just using any random script. It's as simple as doing some command like this. And you can find the Microsoft site, you can find all sorts of scripts and forums. You just have to search around. But once again, if you don't understand what the hell it does, I would say good luck. Now, Microsoft has their own document site, which is the equivalent somewhat of using the help in PowerShell. However, it goes a little bit further, especially if you're on like a site or your environment, you can't connect out to Microsoft to update your help files. The help files in PowerShell aren't there automatically. You have to actually update them. At my work, for instance, can't actually get them. I can't connect to the Microsoft with PowerShell to get the help files, so I would have to actually go directly to the interwebs, to the Microsoft site to actually get that information. So in this case, go to the Microsoft Docs, and they have PowerShell learning out there. So, and it'll basically walk you through it, but it's still a little bit rougher because it expects you to have understanding computers to some extent. So it's not necessarily for the noob user. So, also, if you ever do MCSA server training, if not others, you'll find that there's a lot of PowerShell command use in there. So you'll be learning it by force if you take MCSA courses, because Windows Server is built around PowerShell use, especially if you use the core version of the OS. So it's a little more structured, and it gives you a little real world use, so you get a little better experience there. But still a little bit rougher. You can take all sorts of courses out there, but some can be pretty expensive, and whether they're worth it or not, when there's cheaper methods out there, that's something you'll have to figure out. So, like SANS has a $3,000 course, for instance. I knew somebody went to one. Well, I have a cheaper method that pretty much had a lot of the stuff when he showed me the content of the course. So, but got done for the fraction of the price. So that's where I go to Manning.com. I don't get anything for this, but I was told to refer to this book by a Microsoft engineer that came on site to help with something, and he recommended learn Windows PowerShell in a month of lunches. And they have more advanced books as well, scripting and tool making. And then they have a lot of other books like learning SQL, server administration. They have learn SECM, and they take you through learning stuff about them and actually exercises, so you actually get to use it firsthand, and you can do it from home. So it's not requiring you to have any special modules installed or have a DHCP server to query. It just tells you how to use PowerShell. So this is probably my recommended method, considering it's like less than $30. And it gives you everything you need to know to get started. So this is the method I wish I had a lot sooner.